the Nordiques, the Whalers, the Seals, the Americans, the North Stars. Who's gonna stall? Who will go far and earn the keg? Who's gonna earn the keg? We'll find out in time. Give us a holler on the whoop line.
Monday Night Lights podcast is back. Brian Piercy
Yeah,
here
we
with
are.
Andrew Hedis as always. How you doing there?
I am doing well, coming off of a heavy schedule of puck last week and a heavy schedule of puck this week. I'm glad I could make it into the studio this time around.
Glad to hear as well. We have two guests today, so let me welcome Mr. Kyle Bauer and Mr. Keith Wood. How you fellas doing today?
I'm doing great. I got talked into doing this at the last minute, but I'm still happy to be here.
His agent ran a hard bargain, so hopefully the contract pans out. It's like a little bit like Corey Perry and Dallas Stars this year, where he's got bonus incentives. If he meets certain qualifications, he's going to come back on for multiple shows, and he gets a higher pay rate out of that.
Yeah, it was last second as well for me, too. You know, as executive producer of this show, I found out when the people found out, I was still able to get you a name tag for the video feed. So, you know, I'm a mover and a shaker when it comes to graphics. And
good job.
Mr. Woods, like to thank you as well for joining us.
Happy to be here. Good to be back in Michigan after missing the first few weeks of the season.
Yeah, those shoes last night, those were choice, baby. It looked like you were about to take on Dougie Fresh out in like the marathon, like just run out there. Like that, like a little bit of mix of hiking, a little bit of mix of like marathon running.
Yeah, man.
Shoes?
Keens.
What are you talking? Like, give me some more background on this.
They were just a pair of Keen sandals, closed toe with Vibram soles. Those things are the shit.
Yeah, just Vibram soles, no big deal. He's aerodynamic when he runs. Or ergonomic.
I have some boots with Vibram soles. Very nice. Very nice.
I'm not going to lie.
I would recommend to a friend.
Hey, Vibram, you want to sponsor us? Just a shout out, call 1-877-WOOP-LINE.
Sounds like we're working on it right now.
I don't know what you guys are talking about, but I'm old and I'm not very cool. So, as always, give us a call on the Whoop line, 714-75-WHOOP. Email the show at podcast@mnlhl.com. Quick shout out to Sammy's sweetheart, Mrs. Turtle. Apparently, I heard she listened to about 15 minutes of our last show. Just to be frank, she listened to more than I did. So I'd like to welcome her. I was also supposed to ask permission for Turtle if he could come on the show one day. So if you're listening, Mrs. Turtle, let us know if he's available because he needs your word.
Yeah, it's a line mate challenge right there. So Turtle, come on. I'm on here. You got to come next. It's liney challenge.
Hey.
Beautiful.
I'd also like to apologize to the people real quick. I had a lot of work today, so this is probably the most underprepared I've been for a podcast, so who knows what'll happen here. But let's move on to some news and rumors. First thing, and I think the biggest thing of the week would be the jerseys arrived.
Cue the drop that we don't have.
But yeah, always exciting news. I will say this year they did seem a little bit different. I think they were a little thinner. I don't know if that quality was quite the same, but they're still nice as always.
Yeah, actually, one of the big things I like about the jerseys this year is that the Monday Night Lights patches on, what is it, the left breast, I think it is. It's up. Yeah. Those things are great. Like, every single patch, like, it's not the same. Some are white, some are red. It matches other teams' colors as, like, their tertiary, secondary color, which I thought was a nice touch. And then, of course, just a fighting strap on the inside of the jerseys. Overall, we all bitch and we hate, China orders and how long it takes to get here. But when it finally gets here at the end of the day, everyone's stoked. And they're like, oh, well, I guess that's why we waited 3-4 weeks.
Yeah, there was a couple small snafus apparently with names and stuff, but
Werver.
Maff.
But,
in the end, they look good. They're fun to have. They're a good value. Woods, as a new guy to the league, what did you think when you first saw the jerseys?
I really liked them. I've been wearing Dangle's Sauce jerseys for the past 4 seasons, so I'm familiar with their quality, and I was really thrilled. All the teams look pretty crisp. There's not a whole lot of difference so for me to rank these from best to worst isn't as easy as it is for some of you other guys. Overall, I'm pretty impressed.
And Bauer, what were your thoughts on him as a new rookie of the league?
Well, the best part of this league, I think, is the jerseys. Of course, there's a lot of great things about this league, but the jerseys are just so freaking gorgeous. And because a lot of times you get these like crummy like AK jerseys that you have to settle for, and you go to like D's or somewhere like that, and it takes like 2 months for them to get made. You pay a ton of money and like printing fees and stuff like that, and then you get them and they're heavy and warm and they don't fit right and stuff. I gotta say, like, I think they take a while, but the quality's still good, and also the designs are just on point. And I mean, like the Americans jerseys, for example, I mean, I thought they were beautiful. The Tigers were great. I just across the board, great jerseys. I mean, even the Ducks, like my team, like I was a little bit worried because we're like really the only team rolling with like a modern design. So I was like thinking like, how's that going to translate to the rest of the league? And they came out looking real nice. I'm very proud to wear that jersey.
Yeah, another kind of funny side story was I forget the name because, like I said, I was kind of busy today, but apparently Drager was contacted by someone who saw our jerseys on Instagram where Dangle Sauce was posting them and started asking how could he get in the league, what's more details. I know Drager, he pointed him towards the podcast, to Twitter, to Instagram. Follow this. Maybe you could get into a couple subskates. Sounds like he was a little bit above our pay grade as far as skill-wise, but hopefully he's listening.
His first name was Kevin, from what I remember. I don't remember what his last name was, but hey, you know, our first rounders will be able to keep pace with them. You know, he played a little bit of Junior C, a little bit of Junior B, no biggie, a little bit of Junior A, some games here or there from the sounds of it. I was reading, Pete did a little DB hockey reference databasing. Like,
oh, yeah?
Yeah.
AKA hockey stalking.
Yeah, hockey stalking pretty much. And he found a couple stats, I guess, about the guy. And I mean, maybe it might be a fit. It's one of those things where, like, if no one knows you at all, I mean, it's like, you got to be stoked to, like, be really jazzed. But, oh, I want to go join this league, and you don't know anybody at all. But and to drag him into the league, and you don't know anybody, it'd be kind of tough to fit him. Like, oh, okay, he's a 1, he's a 10, he's a 20, so. Well,
yeah, as of now, obviously, we're full with our 7 teams. But every year, we usually have 1 or 2 guys drop in. I know there's a dream of 8 teams. Apparently, he gave Drager his information. Maybe we can start getting him in some of our drop-ins on Saturdays, things like that. Getting to know people in the league is the best way to get in the league where you know people's skating ability, what their skill ability is. Mm-hmm. So if for some reason Kevin or whatever your name is listening, try to get into those drop-ins. Let us get to know you. Maybe you'll fit in.
And what Bauer did, I believe, in the summer, which I think Busta and Trent had mentioned, is he should possibly like go sub for the Worms a couple games. Because the Worms always need players on Fridays. And, I mean, I know you jumped on the Worms in the summer and Friday, and that kind of gave you some looks for Trent and some other GMs there. So
I don't know if they were positive looks. I thought I played like ass, but
hey, you were like,
I dropped my value, I think.
Well, you know what? That could have been what got you into the league, though, because we need all different skill levels. And if you would have came out there crushing it, we would have been like, oh, Bauer, we have too many first rounders. We don't need another one out there.
That's right. I'm a total first round beauty. I was just sandbagging the entire time, and these first couple games. Trust me, I'm about to turn it up. You guys need to look out.
He does. It's timely though. It's tactical. He only turns it up when his team's down by a goal or it's like tied. You need that extra goal. Bangs the net.
I like your strategy, sir.
It's the best I can do because I need an excuse for looking so crummy otherwise.
So, jersey rankings. Let's start out with Hedis. What's your number 1 pick so far?
My number 1 jersey is actually the Americans. I like the navy color. I like the Minuteman logo. It's a little bit fresh, a little bit different from 2 years ago logo, even last year's logo. They kind of went outside the box with it, but for me, it worked. I like the Americans jersey a lot. They're number 1 for me.
They're actually going to be my number 1 as well. I did not think I was going to like that logo. I actually really liked the gold they had in their jersey last year, but they turned out to be sharp. I give them extra bonus points because they're different from what they've been. And the only issue that I can possibly see is there's people talking about the Whalers and North Stars having problems playing against each other. The Americans and the Seals are going to have trouble because that's a dark, dark blue.
Yeah.
Mr. Woods, what's your number 1 pick?
You know, my number 1 is probably going to be tied between ours, and I do like the orange and black of the Ducks. I do.
That's what I like to hear. Yeah.
That's a fair choice.
It's a nice looking jersey.
Bauer, your thoughts?
I'm gonna have to go with the Tigers. Expansion team coming in strong with a real crispy look. That yellow and black just pops real well, and it's like you kind of think it would look too busy almost at first, but then when you watch it, especially on the ice, it just looks so sharp. They really stand out from the rest of the league. It's a good look.
Yeah, I'm going to start out with number 2. My number 2 probably might be a surprise to some people, but I'm going to go with the Ducks.
You son of a...
I actually, and I think I've been pretty vocal. I hate the Mighty Ducks as a name. I hate that stupid duck logo. It's so dumb. As someone,
How dare you?
You know, it's essentially a corporate marketing name. It's a Disney product, but
Well, Disney owned a team. What do you want? What are they not going to promote their
well,
team?
let's name it the Mickey Mouses then.
Oh,
yeah,
so
real cool.
are we all happy with Little Caesars being on plastered on the top of Red Wings Arena that they play out of? No, I mean, but that's a fact of life. It's a way of life. It's
But either way,
capitalism, baby.
so I don't like the team as far as what the name is, what the logo is, but the jerseys came out nice. I think it's the best look as so far they've had. I just think that orange and the black together is nice and it's sharp.
So I guess I'd be up next then, because after you for the first time around. So
Sure.
as much as I kind of like half dragged like the Ducks, I'm like, oh well, they're gonna be towards the bottom. Busta and Turtle, blah blah blah. Ducks jerseys suck. You can't. They're a real modern team. You can't keep the name. Bring the teal. Whatever. Yada yada.
Yep.
They would be first, if not only I can't put them first because that exact reason, because they're a modern NHL team. So that in my book that just demerits by one slot. So they're number 2 in my book. You took my pick. I love the Ducks jerseys. Surprisingly, the orange is so vibrant, and just I love like the pop of the white gold, the duck gold mask. Like that's just a classic. And for all the reasons that you hate it, and then you still chose to like it, I like it and still chose to like it. So the Ducks for me are number 2. Surprisingly, so I'm gonna have to eat some crow on that for talking some shit in the summer about it. So I'll take my lumps, Turtle and Busta.
Let's move over to Woods for his number 2 team.
You know what? My number 2 is probably going to come in at the North Stars. Might be a spicy pick there, but I like the gray, green, black combo. It's just an aesthetic that I personally find sharp, clean.
And then we're going to stay with you over here for your number 3 then.
All right. So I didn't actually really get a good look at the Tigers jersey out of the boxes. So I don't know how I feel about them. I saw the pictures of them. They look pretty bright and vibrant. Not sure if they're going to cause me to have a seizure on the ice. And so that being the case, I'm probably going to go with Seals.
Seals is going to be your number 3.
Yeah.
Bauer, who's your 3?
Okay, I'm gonna go with the Whalers, and I got to sub for the Whalers last night, and it was cool because I got to put on just such a gorgeous jersey. And what I like is that the interpretation of it, it's a mix of the 80s jerseys, but then also the 90s jerseys with the Navy. And I thought it was just a really cool look for it. And it's just a nice, crisp, clean look. Beautiful jersey.
They were my number 3 as well. I think as my opinion is the Whalers and the Nordiques by far have the classic jersey going on. But the Whalers, at least each year, they've tried to change it up somewhat. They went with the kind of the blue, green, dark colors year 1. Year 2, they put the whale on it. And now year 3, they're going white. So it is very similar to year 1, except it's a totally different color scheme. So it has been changed up enough for me to keep it near that top of the rankings. Hedis, thoughts?
For my number 3,
Yes.
so this is a little bit homerish, but I'm choosing the North Stars. So this is another team that like I felt big preseason, the Ducks and the North Stars. I'm like, these are going to be garbage looking jerseys. I mean, like when I say garbage, and let's like caveat that. So none of these jerseys are going to be garbage, right? But in the scheme of things, when you're like ranking jerseys and you're trying to find minutia into it. I was like, oh, well, the North Stars are probably going to have, like, the ugliest jerseys. Like, this, like, it just clashes. There's too many colors, blah, blah, blah. But we had lots of nice little things. I like the name tags in the back. Not every team has names in the back, and I thought the names in the back of ours with the black tied in really well with the numbers. And the same thing with the Spartans numbers in the back. That's, I believe Chad mentioned earlier in Slack. I love the North Stars on the patches of shoulders. And then on top of that, with the new gear, baby, I mean, I was just feeling them. For me, they're my number 3. They don't pop too much, but it's just the grays there just enough that the North Star logo stands out.
And then we're swinging to you again for 4.
For 4, I have to put the Tigers at 4. So the Tigers jerseys, I don't mind. I just feel like they're really vibrant. It's almost like too bright. It's like school bus yellow in your face, which is good because it distinguishes them from other teams on the ice. But it's almost a little bit too much. And then like the Tiger logo, I would like to see more of like an old school kind of Tiger on it, but I can understand why they use like the updated graphic. It's fresh, it's poppy, it's it's kind of a new take on it. And they're a new team in the league, so I don't mind I guess the logo as much as I thought I would at first, but I guess the combination of the logo and just the vibrant school bus yellow for me is not it's not my top 3.
I had the Tigers at 4 as well. I can only go off it based on what I've seen on Instagram so far. I didn't actually get to see it in person. I'm not a fan of the Tiger logo myself either, but it looks pretty sharp, the jersey, that yellow, the black. It looks like a good contrast of it, kind of like I don't think, it's not quite Steeler colors, I don't think, but like I said, it's sharp, but I have to see it in person before I can really finally judge that one. So, Bauer, you're number 4.
Number 4, I'm going to go with the Americans. And mind you, I the first 4 jerseys in my rankings, like I love all of them. They're all gorgeous, beautiful jerseys. And I'd be lucky to put on any of them from a fashion standpoint. But
You're a dresser.
Yes. Oh, I am, with my great Patagonia sweatshirt and my khaki shorts tonight.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
But no, the Americans is a great look because it's not only a classic look with just how simple it is, but also, and I'm not saying this as an endorsement, as like a Patriots fan, but it reminds me of the New England Patriots almost. And there's like a prestige to that. And that I mean, like, it's a serious professional look. Like, it's a winning look. And that's the thing when I see the Americans. They have a winning look to their jersey. They just
Proctor
have
is
nice,
a pretty arrogant son of a gun.
they just have a nice, clean, classic design. And it looks strong, imposing, and that's a really nice jersey. I'll just put it that way.
Woods, we're back to you.
Yeah, I mean, and I agree there. It's really funny. It's a logo that was my high school mascot. Way back in 03, Cousin No Patriots. It's the same thing. I've got high school sweatshirts with that logo on the crest.
I went to Cosno, eh? I went to Tower.
Yeah,
you can go to hell.
Oh, a little rivalry here,
No,
huh?
I'm just messing, bud.
So what are we at? 5, 4?
4.
4. I'm gonna go with the Whalers at 4.
Classic look as always.
Absolutely.
So,
Sharp, classic.
I think we're over to 5. Let's kind of wrap these ones up a little bit quicker since we've talked about most of them, I think, already. But number 5 for you, Keith.
So 5, I'm probably going to go with the Deeks.
Hedis?
My number 5 is going to be the Whalers. I'm not really, I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of the Whalers jersey this year. It looks really indistinct out there. It looks like another run-of-the-mill white jersey. It's good, and when you grab the jersey and look up close, right? It's got enough like retro to it, like you mentioned earlier. It has enough retro design to it, the 80s and throwback 90s kind of look to it. And it incorporates the traditional colors of white, green, and blue, but it just looks really plain. And then I know some guys, I think 1 or 2 players out there last night on the Whalers team weren't wearing like the socks, like they were wearing like their normal socks, like, or they had like one black sock and one normal. And it just it didn't look like the full clean look, like when everything was together. So for me, they're my number 5.
Okay, my number 5 was the Deeks, and like I said, to me, this is one of the top 2 ultimate like classic jerseys. But I feel like their color is a little lighter than last year. I know Drager was looking for the same color. The red seemed a little bit off there, and plus, it's kind of just been the same thing the last couple of years. They've made little tweaks here and there, but the basic color scheme is the same that it was before. But I will say this: I thought Dougie and Gio, they looked pretty fresh out there with those red pants going. So having that red pants with those blue jerseys, I did like that a lot.
I'm calling out Dougie. Dougie, you need a red bucket. We talked about this last night. Plasti dip, spray paint, do what you got to do, get a red bucket, complete the full look. Sorry, go ahead.
I think we're to Bauer right now.
Yeah, and I will go at 5. I'll go ahead with the Seals. The Seals have kind of been a controversial one. I think a lot of people have been turned off by like the dark color layered on a dark color with the dark green and the black. But I like the way that the Seals logo stands out. I like the trim on it. I just think it's a really nice jersey. And there's a lot of different ways you can go with the Seals, of course. They had a lot of different logos and colors and looks over their short time as an NHL team. But it's an interesting take on their colors. And I think also kind of a modern take. Like, it gives you the sense that the Seals were an actual NHL team today. They would probably have a jersey similar to that, with those dark colors. So I like them.
And then who's your number 6, Bauer?
Number 6, I don't know, man. It's kind of a toss-up from there. I guess I'll go with the Deeks, and the reason why is because, again, kind of like with what you say, just kind of a classic look, classic design. They're always going to be something that looks good. I don't like the red trim. That's pretty much what turned me off. I don't like the piping on the jerseys. I just don't think it's a look that fits. Overall, do I still like the colors and the jerseys and the idea of a Deeks jersey? Of course, but I just didn't like this year's version of it as much as I have in the past.
Woodsy, number 6.
My 6 and 7 are a toss-up. Let's see, who didn't I have? Because I think I just got the Tigers at 7, just because I'm afraid of that bright yellow. Right. I mean,
it's very vibrant.
It almost looks like a highlighter yellow.
Yeah, it's like reflector. That's why like earlier I was like associating like the kind of like the reflector off of like a bus at night when like school bus would drive down the road really early in the morning when you're a kid and like a light shines on the side of it. When you get that really bright reflective yellow, it can blind you a little bit. And you got a fast guy like Matt Taylor or you got like Aaron Riley flashing leather out there. So much yellow, you know what's going on. So
yeah.
My 6 is going to be the Seals. So I mean, for those that don't know, I'm actually a huge fan of Sport Gold and Forest Green. Like that combination. Or like even Kelly Green Sport Gold. Oh, I'm about that life. Like low key about that life. I've always wanted to play a team on that. I had some pads one year. Long story short, love it. So I was kind of stoked to see the Seals jersey that incorporated some green, and then I got there at the rink and saw them on. And I was with you, Bauer, in a sense that that you brought up. Like dark on dark doesn't necessarily look. It doesn't look as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it doesn't look as good as I thought it was going to be. I wasn't really sure what to expect. And the final result kind of came like a 5 out of 10. It's very, very meh. I wish like the background color behind the seal itself, or they had like a, I don't know, like some sort of graphic behind the seal was maybe like a different shade or one of the secondary colors, like the sport yellow on the piping on the arms. I think that would have tied it together better overall. But for me, because it's dark on dark and you just kind of can't tell, so I guess where the green stops and where the black starts, it's gonna be number 6.
If they went all forest green, that would have been a better look. If they just went one color, all forest green, that would have been real smooth.
Oh, yeah.
My number 16 would be the North Stars. I thought the jersey turned out better than from what the rumors I was hearing was. I wasn't a giant fan of the black in there, the black stripes and the black shoulder pads. I thought if you would have went with more of a green or a yellow mixed in on those, I thought it would have been a better look. But again, I don't think any of these jerseys are horrible, and that leaves me with the Seals. I've only seen pictures of this one again. I wasn't impressed by that one. I don't like that dark on dark. I actually really liked the Seals jerseys last year. I thought they were a great advancement with that yellow. I thought they should have went all brown this year. I like the brown pants. I thought the brown look was cool. Ooh. I would have went all brown or mostly brown, flipping the yellow, kind of reverse the colors that they were last year because I like the brown. It was good looking.
That's a spicy take. But I would be like making like poop jokes the entire season. So
hey, they're in first place right now. They could have laughed all they wanted.
Facts. Bauer, who's your number 7?
Well, that would leave the North Stars. And my biggest issue with the North Stars was just I don't like the gray. I feel like that's such a classic jersey. You have green, you have gold, you have black, you have white. The gray, I just don't like it, man. It just feels like it's an affront to the North Stars legacy. And they've had such great jerseys in the past too, but I just wasn't feeling this year's. I like the shoulder patch, the Dallas Stars era star on the shoulder patch. Mm-hmm. I like that, but otherwise I just wasn't feeling the gray and the black. Just wasn't doing it for me.
Fair enough. Keith, what's your? You mentioned your 7.
Yeah. I had actually gotten. I had dropped the 2 because I had the 2 tied for the first between the Americans, so I was like Americans and Ducks. So I didn't have one for 6. That would have been my 7th. So yeah, Tigers.
Makes sense.
Tigers down at the bottom.
My last jersey would have been the Deeks, just because I feel like it's the new iPhone out every single year. Which Deeks jersey you gonna get? Blue with 1 stripe, blue with 2 stripes. This year it's blue with the red stripe. It's like okay,
this year we're half a shade darker.
Yeah.
This year we're a half a shade lighter.
Shame on you, Panny. You should have gone all red because we don't have a red team. So Gio was asking for it too. You drafted him, so you should have done red.
Well, and one thing that the Whalers did last year was they put the whale logo on their jerseys with kind of like the old school Kelly Green look from like the early 80s. That was such a nice look because you basically took the shoulder patch and inverted it. Take the fleur-de-lis. Do something with the fleur-de-lis. That's such a sweet look.
Did you see like it was like a third jersey in the early 92 season? They took it was all red and they had the fleur-de-lis like diagonal style across like the jersey, and then they had like they actually had like the captain logo or assistant or whatever was up there, and they had like the white on the bottom and like baby blue, but it was like all red like striped. I think that would have been perfect. What you're talking about?
That would have been a good look. It would be something different, and I think so. Taking like a note from what the Whalers did last year, that'd be a good inspiration to mix things up for the Deeks, or just try a white jersey.
I like that too. Yeah.
We could do that.
A white jersey, a red jersey. The Deeks apparently are pretty good in their history of we've never wore red in our history and we never will. And whiny. I don't know. But next thing on the agenda is we have the Pick'em standings as well. If you want to view the full standings, go to pick'em.mnlhl.com. This is where everybody picks every week game every week. We have about 30 some guys right now still consistently sending in all their picks. Real quick, our top people right now, Dylan's in first place with 10 points. Brauny, 9.5. He moved up a couple positions. DaveP at 9. And then we have Gio, Manny, and Proctor all at 8.5 points. So remember, these don't actually include your lowest score is going to be dropped. We haven't been dropping people's score yet. So the people that are behind, if they have a bad week, that's going to be dropped. So that will be greatly helpful to their scores. So I think we're doing a good thing. And now let's move on to the game. So unfortunately, the first game of the night is going to be the North Stars 4, the Whalers 1. A few side notes before we start talking about this. Looks like Crunk was out. Jim Ellis took his spot. Darren's out. Turtle Tim filled in for him. On the Whalers side, we had Turnbull out and Bauer came in. From my scorekeeping stuff, when I was looking into this, might not be 100% accurate. I think Troy got the first goal. Turtle had a goal. Jim Ellis. Suits had a goal. And
Trent got your goal.
Trent got the goal for the Whalers. Super quick. We did have a voicemail today.
Ooh, I like that.
From someone that I like to consider a quitter. Called and left a message for the show. So
wow. All right. So let's jump in the voicemail first before we jump into the games. Yeah, it's a good idea.
Well, it has to do with this game.
Oh, spicy.
It's so nice to be on the whoop line. Just wondering, trusted source, are the North Stars that good? Or are the Whalers that bad? I'd like to hear your thoughts. Second, do you think any GM would take the trusted voice over the sniper based on watching that Whalers and North Stars game? Just want to hear your thoughts. Great show, long-time listener, first-time caller. Bye.
Oh my God, what a savage. That's a lot of shit talk, Troy, to be talking when we're only 1-3. So let's reel this back for a second. And let's actually address the first point. Actually, you know what? No, let the guests address the first point of the question.
I'd just like to thank Mr. Sniper, Mr. Troy Otto for calling the show.
Fair enough.
I mean, from his reactions for the whole season, some people thought he might have been dead. He lost his groove. One little win by his team, and he kind of wakes up a little bit. So I'm glad we could help get his pet back. But we'll start with Mr. Bauer. He was nice enough to fill in and I'll kind of consider this more of a neutral voice in here of what he saw in the game.
Yeah, you guys were nice enough to have me. I'll put it that way. It's a better way of putting it. I think the Whalers have a ton of potential. The problem is there's a lot of blind passing. I took part in that myself last night. But there's a lot of blind passing. There's just not a lot of connection, I think, in the zone. There was, I think, thoughts of possibly loading up a first line, moving Peso up. I don't know if I'm divulging too much inside information. I don't want to come off as a whistleblower here, but my whole thing is like,
you for trade secrets.
Yeah, leaking confidential information.
These are multi-million-dollar Monday Night Lights and teams here.
My whole thing is that there is a lot of talent on the Whalers, and I think they're going to do a lot better than their start indicates. And I think it's going to come together. There's just too much top-end talent on that team for it not to happen. And they got like DaveP and stuff like that. They got some good grinders on that team. It's going to come together. As far as the North Stars, outskated us to every puck last night. That was a big difference. Was that there were so many corner battles, there were so many little forechecking battles and opportunities to get the pucks that Whalers, that we missed out on, and a lot of that, it's just the little things. And that if you're going to be a good team that is going to overcome any other team, you got to be able to win those little battles. And that's something that the North Stars did very well last night. If they continue to do that, they're going to be just fine this season as well. I thought they showed a lot of potential last night, and I don't think the score was indicative of how close the game actually was.
Now, Woods, you obviously weren't in this game, so I'm assuming part of it you were actually changing, but did you get to see any of this game, and what were your thoughts?
I don't know if I agree with that statement because from what I saw, the North Stars were pretty much carrying the play, and the Whalers were just throwing the puck away blindly up the middle of the ice. Their breakouts look troublesome, to put it nicely. Way too many blind passes up the middle. I have no idea how that first goal went in. I was standing there at the side, and that puck was at the half boards.
It's redirected.
And it redirects like right under the crossbar, top corner, and but from there, I really didn't see the Whalers do much. And now they might have had some searches while I was changing, but anytime I was out there, every time they were getting in the zone, they were getting jammed up. I didn't see too many great quality scoring chances out of them.
Yeah, I know for the first goal, it was I guess it was Troy who kind of just threw the puck at the net, and Weaver said it was right at him. He tried to catch it. It hit off his glove, made it go up and go into that top corner. So that was just shit happens. I mean, I know I would feel, I'm sure Weaver feels bad about it, but stuff happens on that. So that one was kind of a fluke. Hedis, what were your thoughts kind of from behind the net, seeing the full view of the game?
So the entire, my view of the entire game, I think I talked a little bit about Bauer, some guys on the little bit Blue Party deck last night. And you kind of spoke to that point, is that I felt the North Stars, for the first time probably in our 3 games, we were first to the puck in puck battles 3 out of 4 times. So if there's a puck battle in the corner, a loose puck that squirted out into the neutral zone, we either had a player that was on the puck or someone that actually just beat outright with speed one of the Whalers players to the puck, whether it was DaveP, Peso, you, Lapudre, or Trent. It didn't really matter, like kind of who it was all night. It was like 3 out of 4 battles. Like we would win that open puck battle. Now, on paper, it looks kind of strange because if you look at the Whalers on paper, they got some good skating, good quality skaters, some good quality speed on their front end, and even on their back end necessarily isn't you have some speed. I mean, I know, Turnbull wasn't there last night and he doesn't have a ton of speed, but like you have a little bit, and then Lapudre's his defenseman. He'll keep the puck in the zone and play defense. So a lot of your forwards though carry play, right, and they have that high pressure 2-1-2 kind of like forechecking system. So to see us kind of get clean clears out of our zone and then to kind of win some puck battles in your zone, I don't know if it was indicative of kind of us being like on the back foot and we came out hungry, which I definitely think we did. And then some lineup changes. We kind of put Judge back there again. We did that against the Seals 2 games ago, which we probably should have earned a point.
He looked real good back there. He was a pain in the ass to play against last night. Mm-hmm. He really was. And
that's one of the big things too in this league is if you can get someone that has the puck on their stick and they can get that calming kind of sensation, they hold it for a second or two and can make a smart play with it, or just not lose it when someone's on them and then get the puck out of the zone, that can save goals. There's a lot of times where a lot of teams in this league were guys like Proctor, guys like Matt Taylor, guys like even Turtle. Turtle last night got a goal. Like they'll cut off the puck at the top of the blue line, or they'll do a really nice forecheck, and someone will make a bad pass. Example, Deke's game, we'll talk about a little bit later with Kimmel, and so, like a good player will come and pick it up, and they'll go 1-on-1 with the goalie, and if the goalie doesn't have his feet set, that can end up in the net.
Yeah, it was weird playing in the game. Is at the beginning of the game, it felt pretty slow to me. I didn't feel like the North Stars were doing a whole ton there. I didn't feel like we were getting a lot of pressure. But then that goal happened. I think it's kind of a fluke goal going off someone's hand, but a goal is a goal. And I feel like the Whalers, we tightened up. We essentially were at the point where we've scored less than a goal a game, and it's all like, oh, crap, now we're down. What's going to happen? Felt like we were actually flowing pretty good at the beginning of the game, and then it kind of once you guys scored, it turned around and you guys started outplaying us. I felt like that, and like I said, to me, we kind of tightened up, our butt cheeks tightened up. We're closing them real tight, like we got to take a crap and we can't hold it in. And we kind of just went to hell on that side of things.
I definitely think the goal kind of was a momentum changer a little bit, but by the same token, throughout the entire game, I can count on maybe on two hands. I mean, I had maybe anywhere from 10 to 15 shots. And going into the third period, I can remember getting like exactly 5 shots on net. Like I counted. Like you guys had not had that much zone pressure on us. You didn't have that many shots. A lot of times you'd come over into the zone, you'd try to make like 1-2 pretty of a play.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
And then when you guys just started like put pucks on net, start skate better in the third. And granted, I mean we were up 3-0 or something at that point. But like, so we were kind of sitting back a little bit more. But you guys start putting more pressure in the third period. Things kind of changed a little bit. So I guess one thing to kind of be interesting to see going forward for the Whalers for me, sitting from my point of view, is you guys went almost a game and a game in like 5 minutes without when I like looked at it last without scoring a goal, because you didn't score a goal until the 5-minute mark of the third period or 4-minute mark of the third period in our game, and then the last goal you got was you had a game last week and you didn't score, and then you had a bye week, and then the following week before that you had a shootout win, and you guys didn't score the second goal in that game. The Ducks scored the second goal, correct? And that the first game you guys played, and then the Whalers won the shootout.
It's a lot of periods without a goal.
Yeah. So that's almost like a game and a half, a game in 5 minutes. I don't know if it's you guys or the Ducks. I have to go back and look at it or look at the score sheet. I don't know if we even keep them. But going over a game out scoring a goal, like a game and a half out scoring a goal in this league, that's detrimental. And I don't know if Cam would admit that he played great or poor or whatever else last night. I mean, he had a lot of saves in the Deeks game, and in our game we had a lot of shots. That were from, there were some from tough angles or open chances. But when you don't score any goals, it can kind of, for your team, it doesn't matter how many goals your goalie gives up. I mean, you're just not going to win.
Yeah, obviously when you don't score, you can't win. And I think last night we gave up 4, but before that, I think we were averaging maybe 2 a game, if that. And I think if you would have said going into the season, the Whalers are giving up 2 goals a game, are they going to be winning games? I think most people would say yes. I think you would have thought we would be putting up more than that per game. I think another problem is we weren't getting a lot of shots off. I don't know if we're trying to make that extra pass that we shouldn't. We're not getting in the right area. But I also think when we are getting a lot of those shots, they're from far away. They're clear views to the goalie. They allow relatively easy saves. Now, Peso, Trent, they sometimes throw it in that top corner, makes a tough one to go. But when we're putting it in the goalie's chest, from outside, just the top of the circle, we're not giving ourselves great opportunities in those senses. And then it starts coming down to, I made a bad play in the third where I was going, like the puck came back, I was going, and Suits was behind me. I was trying to look for a pass instead of just going by and make sure it wasn't. He got the puck from me. But when we start getting down like that, it puts pressure of we have to do something. And then that's where we're actually jumping on stuff more and we're making bigger mistakes because we have that pressure that we're not putting up goals and it doesn't seem like it's going to happen easily. So we have to do stuff that we normally wouldn't do, and it's costing us to make bigger mistakes and have other things happen.
My last word, I guess, on this game for me as well as, I mean, outside of the Whalers not playing their kind of brand of hockey, the North Stars, we kind of came out, and like I said earlier, kind of like gangbusters. I think the lineup changes were really smooth. Like I said, I mentioned it previously, and then you mentioned Bauer, that moving Judge back on D is huge because you want to get that first clear pass out of the zone. You want to be able to control the puck in your zone so that your forwards can go from the bottom of the hash marks upwards. And then, so I want to, like, the defense, like the North Stars that we played last night, it was fantastic. We carry that into the following week. We'll give Americans, we'll give anybody in the league a tough time. And if we're comparing Troy's game to Piercy's game from last night, I would say the stats from Troy getting a goal, I say I would give him the edge over you for last night. But the season wide, the horse is still out of the pen. So.
I was going to say, Troy, I think there's pros and cons to both of our games. I'm not trying to say I'm necessarily a better player than him, but I don't think he's necessarily a better player than me. I think when you're saying to look at it, if we're playing the Americans, you're throwing that sub at the right side. You're putting him against Proctor's line all night, essentially having to go one-on-one with Proctor double-digit times, and essentially I didn't let up a goal against him out on the ice. I played him relatively well for being that time. I think in that situation, for what he can say is, if you have that many times one-on-one against Proctor, I'm going to do better than he is based on speed and endurance and hustle.
Yeah, but I mean that's well. Actually, let's roll in the next game because that's actually what I was going to get to. So I mean, I was just on the night. I was like, if we're reversing,
I just want to address that he's calling me out on there, and I'm saying when you're actually looking at the situation there,
he's just calling out. He's just calling you out for that game specifically. I think, trying to razz you.
He can call me out all he wants, but at times he's got that auto lazy blood in him, and he's not going to hustle and he's not going to skate hard.
I thought he was. For me last night, he was probably like the player of the game. I think of both teams.
He played well.
He played really well last night.
Troy can be a good player, but I don't need you to come at me and act like you're almighty, godlike defense. But then at the next time you're crying that you're a 9th fucking rounder when the draft comes around. What are you? Are you an all-star who's going to be sniping goals and putting your stick in the air, or are you a piece of shit?
Damn. All right.
I know where I'm going personality-wise.
I guess the Whalers and the North Stars next game would be pretty spicy. Yeah, that's all right, though.
So the next game on the list is going to be the Nordiques 0, the Americans 2. Cipps was out, Maff was in, AJ was out for Wrubel, and Sam Mackey was out with Jim Ellison on the other side. Actually, that's all I have listed there. It looks like Proctor had an early goal. Antioch had one late as well. Let's see. Mr. Woods, you're an American rookie.
I am.
First game ever in MNL. What were your thoughts on this game?
So this was my MNL debut and for the regular season. Thoughts on this game? I'm really liking the looks of our squad. For two lines, our second line can create offense and contain the puck or control the puck, and both lines of our defense can match up against most players in the league, control the puck, and get it up moving forward. We didn't do the best job all night of it last night, as evidenced by only netting 2. However, they weren't able to really get anything going against us. And as you said, we got that one early off of Kimmel's giveaway to Proctor. I almost had another one on a similar giveaway, and then one late in the third.
To throw a superlative out there, I've saw all 3 games. So from what I saw in the Americans game against the Deeks, it was a highly defensive, highly organized game. There was lots of getting the puck to the red line or getting to the neutral zone, chipping it deep. And once a team got it deep, you try to establish, your zone presence. Put your D at both points, have the center work down low, have the wings cut in and out. The generic hockey beer league thing. But once the puck was deep, if a team didn't establish zone presence, a lot of times the D would just get the puck and they would just turn around and throw it back up the ice, and then the whole process would start all over again in any other team's zone. So it was a lot of touch and go, I felt, for about a period and a half. And then what I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, I guess, in the North Star game about solid D getting the zone out and not making a mistake. There was one mistake that Kimmel had swapped with somebody in the left side of the zone. With one of the defensemen moved up the ice, and he went to one touch this pass, and he kind of flubbed it, and that's when Proctor swooped in, used the Proctor skill, picked it up at the hash marks, and went on a semi breakaway on Cam and scored on Cam. From my end of the view, actually the second goal, even Proctor had picked up the puck from another kind of a defensive lapse late in the third.
No. That was I was coming to the bench on a change on that play, and then I think it was Star who sent it up to me, and I caught the pass at right in front of our bench, hit Proctor coming through the middle of the ice, and then he broke into the zone. But
that was a defensive lapse, and then it was created eventually.
I mean,
by
it was
in the zone.
It was like a 2-tap breakout, hitting a guy coming through center ice with speed. I mean, I'm not going to put it on them. We're putting them on their heels at that point.
Yeah, I mean, that was a tight game all around. I felt like it was close.
Cam played out of his mind. That was a big thing.
Cam played good. I thought I played better the second. I feel bad because I felt like I played better the second game than I did the first game. I thought I played good the second game. I felt like I made a lot of good passes overall. I felt like I played Proctor as good as I'm gonna get him. Obviously I'm a 7th to 8th round type of guy, so I'm not gonna essentially shut him down at all times. But I played Proctor well there, and our defense, me and Dougie, I thought we had a nice, good connection there. I thought we played well together. Defense as overall, I think there were some sub-ups by the American, to be honest. That team, I'm not going to say it's anybody's fault, but they've been missing guys every week, so it's really hard to know what their team is like.
They subbed really well against us a couple weeks ago, too. Where, I mean, and that was a game where they crushed us. I can't remember the final score.
7-2.
Yeah.
Wow, he's letting the fans at home know. All right.
But I mean, they obliterated us, and they seem to sub up really well in that game too. The thing about the Americans that I think is going to make them so tough this year is they have solid goaltending, and also their defense can move the puck as well as they do. The way their defense moves, that they have so much skill on the back end.
They had Wrubel and Star on a line together.
Well, I mean, and Wrubel was subbing for who's Wrubel subbing for last night?
AJ, yeah.
Yeah.
And I love AJ, and AJ's a good
he was a
player.
last-second cancel.
But that's not close.
I'd probably have Wrubel over AJ, but I mean, even still though, by the same like what Bauer was touching on, if those defensemen be able to move the puck that quickly to like Antioch and Proctor, which they like to keep higher lines when they're out in the ice together. They don't really necessarily come always low, as really deep low behind the net like some other teams have to kind of help out their defense. So, I mean, I don't know if you want to touch on that more. I mean,
well, I'm somebody who like I take pride in my forechecking ability. Like, you know, it's one of the things in my game. I'm not a skill guy with the puck, so for a lot of it for me is just trying to put pressure on the defense, trying to force turnovers, bad passes up the middle, you know, just kind of shutting down their breakout the best that I can. Not that I'm good at that every game, but that's what one of my goals is. And for them, I just you know, with Proctor back there especially, like he could just dance around you. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the thing. They have so much damn skill back there that you can try to put whatever pressure you want on them, and then you realize at a certain point you have to back off because you got to play them deeper because they're going to try to force the play on you.
And as a defenseman playing last night on Proctor's side, Proctor always is looking to leak out to get that puck to him. So you have to, as like, essentially be on the back of your heels the whole time. And you have to be watching him because you don't want to cause that breakaway. And I always like the whole game, which I'm not necessarily a blue line player, keep it in and slap one anyway, so it doesn't matter. But keeping my eye on Proctor the whole time, trying to stay behind him the whole time. It does, in a lot of ways, it helps out the defense by him doing his cherry picking stuff because you have to have one or two guys, your defensemen are staying back because it's Proctor, and you know he's going to tear one person apart on a one-on-one. Your defensemen are now in a neutral position. They can't kind of go forward and try to help out that offensive pressure.
They're no longer a threat to pinch.
Yeah, they force you to
or much less of a threat.
They force you to respect them to the point where you have to give them more space than I think you would most defensemen in this league.
And Antioch is no slouch when it comes to those breakouts and those breakaways as well. He's a big pain in the ass, and he's got a hell of a shot.
Woodsy, what was your thoughts on the second line that Deeks had? Do you think that they're going to be changing up anything anytime soon? Because I know they had
I'd sure hope so.
The old men together, and they had the young guys together. So
you know, I'd sure hope so. I mean, we handled them pretty solidly. Neither of, if only from a chemistry standpoint, they, you know, I'd like to see them try things to get more going because I mean maybe it was just the strength of our D, but they looked like they were having a lot of problems. And anytime they did get, you know, I think they had maybe 3 high-quality scoring chances the entire game.
I mean, their team's averaging 2 goals a game this season exactly. So, I mean, they've scored 8. They've given up 7. So, I mean, their record's 2-2. It kind of reflects that evenly. So, for me, watching, your guys' second line did a pretty decent job at shutting down the old men line a little bit. I know that Pete kind of prides himself on being a shutdown forward himself. So having 2 kind of defensive-minded lines going against each other, I was expecting maybe to see Peter Kimmel kind of try to break out a couple times and get more shots on net, and maybe we might see that going forward more as opposed to, you know, less defensive-minded Pete, less defensive-minded Kimmel, because Kimmel can shoot the puck. We all saw in preseason got that one backside goal someone threw to me one time down on net, like it's like NHL network, and you're doing a top 5, and he's like bar down ski. But
Kimmel picked my pocket and went in and got a shot from the high slot. Thankfully, you know, we had a guy there, so it wasn't the most dangerous, and J-Flo was all over it. But man, he made me look stupid right there.
The Nordiques lines have, you know, exceeded my expectations. I feel like they've been very solid so far. I think this shows, which one of the things that we talked about with the Americans in preseason is not only do they have this nice team when you, especially with that defense of Star and Wrubel back there, they also have the number 1 goalie pick in J-Flo as well. So you have that solid defense that lets J-Flo just kind of line up, be solid in his technique, and make those nice saves. He's not having a ton of pressure, and he's going to make those saves that he should. So if you can't get quality, I'm not saying they weren't quality opportunities, but if you're not making him kind of move all over the place and get those great opportunities,
second chance
it's kind of like the Whalers opportunities. You can't just shoot it against, you know, shoot it on your chest, Hedis, and expect for them to start flowing in. Like, you got to get some opportunities, get you moving a little, fake you out a little bit, get those shots. You got to do the same thing with J-Flow. And with those defensemen back there, J-Flow is just kind of, floating around, making the saves he should, and that's what you need out of him in those situations.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I mean, my last word on it is like second chances, like second chance scoring opportunities in this league are huge. That's how you win a lot of games. A lot of times,
Absolutely.
that's how you score a lot of goals.
Yep.
Great example: Kyle Bauer's first goal last week with the Ducks to beat the Seals was a second chance opportunity. Turtle through on net, far left pad, and he's crashing net and put it home. So if you can score, or Jim Ellis's goal last night was like back door open, but it came off of a second chance opportunity. So I mean, if you can generate those on like some of the better goaltending in the league, that's how you're gonna have to score on some guys if you can't beat them clean.
Yeah, which is a good message. I mean, real quick for the Whalers too. Because a lot of times breaking in, making an extra pass, trying to be too cute, just get it on net, get a low shot, try to force a rebound, crash the net. Sometimes when you're struggling to score goals, you got to get back to basics, make things really simple, and that's just a good way to go sometimes. And the Whalers have enough skill to where they're going to score goals, they're going to be competitive by the end of the year, but sometimes to break that slump, you got to get back to basics and just do things like that. Just get hard, low shots, get rebounds, crash the net.
And, that was the one of the biggest things that I took away from watching our D as well, is they were all over every rebound. There were a few that came out, and Wrubel especially was there to clear a lot of pucks out of harm's way that were coming out from into the middle of the ice from sidewall shots.
Yeah. Last game of the evening was the Seals 3, the Tigers 2. Hedis, you got to see some of this game. I don't know if Bauer did, but I'm going to start with you. I know me and Keith, we did not.
We were
so
on the ice.
Let's start with you.
Yeah, the Seals game, I would say probably arguably was made. Well, I don't say just the Seals because it was the Tigers involved as well. So the Tigers and Seals game was probably the exciting game of the night to me. I mean, if you had an NBC primetime game, I know we were at 9 o'clock, but that arguably could have been as well a primetime game because by the third period, the puck was up and down the ice. I mean, every shift there seemed to be a breakaway or 2-on-1 chance, and both teams were just trying to one team was trying to ice the game, the other team was trying to close the game out. The Seals ended up winning, obviously 3-2, but from what I saw from that game, Dylan continues to stand on his head and kind of keep the Seals where they are. If he doesn't make big saves every single game for their team, whether it's breakaways or chances out in front, they're not going to be where they are. So, I mean, granted, sometimes he gets a little cute, and by a little cute, I mean a lot of cute, when he's outside the net trying to wheel and deal the puck. There was a great opportunity with about 4 minutes left in the 2-1 game, at the time, in the third period, and the Tigers are throwing the puck down low, and he had the puck, and he made a bad pass out of the zone, and then he had a dive like Marty Brodeur in like early 2000s and throw his glove out at it and nabbed one. And then the next play went down the other end, and Aaron kind of had to do the same exact thing. So I felt the goaltending in that game last night was good because probably if the Seals had, I don't know, let's say the Seals had 30 shots and then the Tigers had like 20, 25 shots, both goalies must have faced 3 breakaways apiece within those 30 and 25 shots. Pfister still lived up to his name. Last night he got 2 of 3 goals. The second goal was, frankly, it needs to be reported as a crime because he came down on Riley and he hit 2 crossbars off it. I don't know if you want to talk about it. I mean, the sound you heard.
That was so sick. And it was kind of like one of those feelings where, like, as soon as he was gone, we were all kind of like, yeah, he's going to bury this. But it was the way he did. It was with so much authority. It was like shattering the backboard. I mean,
like that. I felt like that crossbar was going to explode. Just like, bing.
It was
and wow, everyone just went, holy shit. Like, he was like, yeah, after the post game of Blue Deck, he's like, yeah, I thought I was gonna miss that shot. I followed through too much on it. I'm like, dude, you literally you destroyed the net. If we're playing NHL hits, how like the guys have like fire on their sticks when they take slap shots. That was like him and his wrist shot. He like took a wrist shot, came down Riley 1-on-1, and just went glove side high and just went whoop. I was like, all right, well, that's a goal.
Yeah. And Bauer, sounds like you saw this game. What were your thoughts on it?
I just saw just a little bit of it, but I have subbed with the Tigers. I got a little bit of experience with them, and I think they're a good, solid squad themselves. But I just got to say, Pfister, I got to speak to a little bit of background. I played with him years ago, and So when I saw him show up at the draft, I was like, "Oh shit!" It's like, and I mean, I know a lot of people have kind of been like keeping their eyes on him and stuff, and like figuring out ways to shut him down. And one of the things about him that I think is going to bother a lot of people is how skilled he is, but how hard he is on the puck. Like, a lot of skill guys in beer leagues and stuff like that, like, you know, they'll float around and you know, they'll just try to get to the puck, make a play to the net, and then they're out. He always reminded me of like Henrik Zetterberg. That's what he always reminded me of, because he is just so relentless on the puck, and whenever you think you have him beat, he's back, and he's back getting the puck. And I've noticed so far in a couple games watching him in this league, including, you know, with the Ducks when we beat the Seals, that he will get up ice, he'll sneak in behind the defense, and he will take off. And when he takes off, look out, because I mean the way he can move to the net and the moves that he can put on the goalie, he's a finisher.
I think another thing that's been a little bit undermentioned for the Seals as well is how last night, which I kind of noticed, was McShannock's defense. Last night, there was a short, it was a penalty kill. I know DaveP was subbing, and he was kind of doing DaveP things out there with Rattler, but they came up the ice once with Matt Taylor, and McShannock, and his Whoop was standing back there, and McShannock kind of throws this big poke check and gets beat by, I think it was Myers, someone. He got beat by somebody. Some defenseman was headbanging the puck. And then he turned around and caught up to them because Whoop was by himself in front of the net and he wasn't going to move. And he caught up to him and took the puck away and threw it up the ice, and which eventually turned into a breakaway that Neville had overskated. McShannock has done a really nice job at second D pairing. And for as much as you look on paper, looking at their D and go, well, you know, the one line's decent, but like Whoop and McShannock, is that going to really work? That's actually kind of panned out really well so far, because Whoop can, like we've said in prior episodes, Whoop can stand back there and quarterback, and McShannock can chase the puck around and make the smart first play. I guess from what I've seen from the Tigers, they had a really good effort last night. One thing was kind of cheeky, which Matt Taylor got a penalty left with about 3:50 left by shooting Dylan Stick away.
Yeah.
For me, that was kind of like cheeky on Dylan's part, because it looked for me when I was standing like he was like giving him the business in the back, trying to move Taylor out of the back of the crease, and I thought he hit him in the head. But then some people said that the puck actually hit Matt Taylor in the head. But I mean, he was getting the business in the back from Dylan, and when Dylan lost his stick, he kind of tossed it away up the ice. And they gave him a 2-minute penalty for that, which. I mean, it is a penalty, but I've seen that not called before in leagues, and I mean, it's a 1-goal game at that point. So, another thing too for the Tigers, I thought their subs
I don't mind
ahead
that being called.
Yeah, you don't mind.
Every time. You can't shoot the goalie stick away.
I've seen that happen before. They don't call it, but another thing I thought was kind of interesting for the Tigers is they slotted Ben in for Slocum. I don't think that was necessarily bad or good. I thought that was like an even sub. I wouldn't say it's a sub up or sub down. And he actually got a goal last night. He got the goal at the minute 40 left. He shot off the left post down low when the puck was loose. So it's not that the Tigers didn't have chances. Just one an opportune penalty with about 3 minutes left. And Allen Z and Fister capitalizing when they needed to, kind of got them the edge there.
Yeah, and I have to say too, like obviously, like, you know, I got to talk up Ben. You know, great first liner for us, and happy to hear that he scored last night. But, you know, Slocum, I got to play in a line with him when I subbed for the Tigers, and he's a great puck mover, and he's a really smart player, too. I think a combination of him and Taylor as like your 1 and 2 centers gives them a lot of balance, and I think that's going to really make them formidable throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
So we have our famous Troy OFP power rankings. I think we're going to go through them. Let's not necessarily do our own rankings, but if there's any big points you have about these teams, or you know, agree, disagree, anything big, just kind of let me know. We'll talk about those subjects. But time-wise, we're probably about an hour. So I think if we went through everybody's rankings, that would take a little bit too long. Troy, his first pick here would be the Seals. You know, they just beat the Tigers. It's hard for me to argue. Does anybody else kind of have them outside of that number 1 spot?
I do.
Who's your number 1 then?
The Americans. Sure, it's been sub-city for the Americans, but the way I rank my personal power rankings, like it's like exponential factor. So every time you win every week, like it's like a winning streak, you get like a little bit more percentage added onto that. So like if you've won 2 weeks in a row? 2,
yeah. We had the bye last week.
You had the bye the week before, so they edge out the Seals by a bee's dick for me.
Yeah, I think it's to me, it's a sub city thing. It seems like they've had 3 to 5 subs every week. We truly can't see what their team is like. We haven't seen Smachi there. We haven't seen Cipps there. I feel like they've had sub ups each week. Woods was out. I don't know if those are subs ups or not. But just this week, I think we talked about that. So I would like to, before I can really boost them up to where they truly might be, I want to see them kind of full squad and see how they do.
I understand. I just personally don't agree, mostly for our defense.
Yeah, but your defense was a giant sub up this week anyways.
No, just who else were we missing? It was just
Wrubel sub for AJ Powers, and then was it Ellis?
The other subs were our forwards though.
Jim Ellis, you guys had Cipps out as well. Maff was in.
So we had
those
Maff was
were
back there.
no offense, but all three of those I think are kind of, you're right, they're kind of up. But by the same token, my thing is every team every single week has sub players. The whole sub up controversy, unless that player is dynamic and they're getting the primary assists or the primary goals on for their team, and it's like a 1-goal game. For me, it's not that big of a deal per se. So that's why I would just flip flop those for me.
So he had number 2 would be the Tigers. I personally can agree with that as well. They just lost to the Seals. Before that, they were kind of on a roll with Matt Taylor. Obviously, anybody else, big disagreement on that side of things?
Well, because I put the Americans first, the Seals, for me, it would Seals would slot.
And I'm there too.
Slot down to 2, and then the Tigers would be 3.
I would agree that I want with you that Percy. I want to see that. I want to see the actual Americans. I want to see the actual freaking team. And that I agree, the defense is great. I was just talking up their defense, and their goaltending is good, but I want to see them play with more of their full roster because it seems like they've.
Be careful what you wish for.
You play me next week, bud, not him.
Well, I'm just saying, I want to see them.
We know what happened last time when we played them.
Oh, that is true. That is true.
Yeah, and no one here is arguing that they're not a good team.
They're
no one's bitching about they're cheating with their subs up. It's just in a power ranking. It's hard to give them a full rating of where you think they'll go in there until you see their team together.
Oh, and I totally understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I'm just being a homer.
Yeah,
of course you are. And, we saw that you're more of a me player than a team player when you're yelling about your assists there as well. So we know how you go.
Blow me.
But
if I was going to jaw jack as much as I did during the week and I actually earned my apple, goddamn right I'm getting that on the scorecard.
Oh, give me my apple. Give me my apple. I had that, I swear.
it is October. Time to go to the orchard.
Hey.
Yeah, but I would say I just want to see a little bit more of the Americans with their full team because they've had a lot of subs so far. But obviously the core of their team has made that work. I would say right now it's pretty close between the Tigers and Seals for the top. Last night, obviously, the Seals beat the Tigers. But the Tigers have played some really complete games so far. And I think with Taylor and I also mentioned Slocum up the middle earlier, I think their goaltending is really great as well. I would put the Tigers actually at the top right now. I put the Americans second, the Seals third.
Yeah. I think our next level, we have the Ducks 4, the Nordiques 5. I think it's fair to say that they're kind of on their own little kind of level here. I personally look at that as I have the Nordiques as 4. I want to say they beat the Ducks, if I remember correctly. I just like their lineup a little bit better. But I think it's tight, and again, any team can beat any team. Anybody else with some thoughts on these two teams?
I kind of agree with Troy's power ranking there, where he put the Ducks ahead of the Deeks, just because the Deeks lost last night. The Ducks won. They're coming off a bye. Sure, I mean, as sub, whatever, the game prior and I played. But long story short, that they're the ones that won last, and if you're not going off of a win streak for me, I'm going to have the Ducks above the Deeks. But does that really matter when it's 4 and 5? Not at the moment, no. So,
yeah. I mean, I know there's been some questions, like you guys were just talking about the Deeks forward lines, but I do think they have a decent amount of depth at forward. I know, playing against them, it's okay, it's either I matched up against Kimmel or I matched up against Gio, on the wings, and those are two tough dudes to play against.
Yeah.
Two skill guys, two guys who play very hard, and that alone right there, I think, gives them a lot of balance. I will say in defense of my own team, you saw our second line come on. I know, of course, there's a sub controversy, whatever. The point is, me and Turtle, we're developing a lot of chemistry. And when I got drafted onto Ducks, I was excited because I looked at Turtle, because just subbing against him in the past, I'm like, this dude's a fucking player. I would love to play on his team. He's always so hard to play against. And now I get to play in a line with him, but we're figuring out how to play with each other. And I can tell you that it's coming together. And I think we got a good first line, obviously, with Sugar and Ben. Busta, who can put the puck in the net when he gets hot.
Oh, yeah, he can.
Yeah, you got solid defense with Wrubel. I mean, like, we got it together. Good goaltending. I think we're going to come on as the season
Your golie hasn't
plays out.
your goalie hasn't showed up for a game yet. How do you know?
Yeah, but the scrimmage, he looked good.
But our sub goalies really like subbing for us, and they play good. Turtle's such a nice guy, too.
Yeah.
Yesterday, afterwards on the party deck, he came up to me. He's like, "You played a really good game." I thought he was fucking with me. I'm like, "Are you just being a dick?" He's like, I think he was serious. He's like, "No, man, I swear." I'm just like, how can I be mad at you? I'm just mad at myself that we lost. But he's such a nice guy. Last two teams, obviously, the North Stars Whalers. Last night, head-to-head battle. I can't argue with that. I can't be a homer. I think our team is better than a 7, but we have to prove it, and we have not proved it as of yet.
I mean, again, I think the Whalers have a lot of potential to come out of that hole, and they are it's gonna get there. I mean, it's tough. We've talked about it at the beginning of the season, like from the draft onward, how balanced the league was going to be this year, how tough the league was going to be this year, about how any team from 7 all the way up to 1 is going to be there. And so far, we've seen some separation in the standings, but I think as time plays out, you're going to see the Whalers, especially, I think, make some moves up towards the top because there's just too much talent on that team for them not to.
Yeah, and the one thing is I do think Turnbull being out has been a big hurt to us. Apparently, he has been seen on the ice. Sounds like he's still a few weeks away. But if he can get, I'd rather have him be out a few weeks, get 100% healthy. And I think that's going to be a big jump up. He's a very solid defenseman. I think he's underrated. He moves the puck. He sees it. He coaches, so he kind of knows where to go with it. I think having him on a line with LePoudre on a line is going to just make us move the puck, or having those two on separate lines. They're both really good at moving the puck. I think that's going to be a big help to us. But like I said, we need to prove it as of right now. So standings real quick. Also, just a quick shout out. If you go to youtube.mnlhl, we have this video here. We have some graphics with the standings, with our point leaders, our goal leaders, basic scores, upcoming matchups. You can see them there yourselves. But we have Seals right now in first place with 9 points. Tigers, Americans, and Deeks all tied with 6 points. Mighty Ducks coming in at 4 points, with the North Stars 3, and the Whalers are at 2 points. Real quick, we have the Golden Seals, the Nordiques, and the Stars. They played 4 games where everybody else has played 3 games, so it's really hard to look at the standings as a whole until a few more weeks with that different matchup there.
Yeah, until everyone gets their bye out of the way.
And one of the big things you mentioned earlier last week that I was kind of salty when cutting the grass on this, and I'm like, darn it, I want to talk about it this week, is that you brought up that there's less games this year than there has been in prior years, correct? Would you say 18 games?
I think there's 18 compared to 21, I want to say, or 20.
Correct. So, I mean, once you play every team once, you're a third away through the season at that point. So for us, I guess for the North Stars purposes, for my own personal bias, I'm glad we got some points here, at least finally, after one of these games. And we still have 2 or 3 games left. We can get some points out of. But if you have a game in hand, that's huge. That's like, Premier League soccer. That's like Premier League, Champions League hockey, right? Or these teams will go and they'll play these games like right through the regular season, and they'll have Champions League hockey games scheduled the same Saturday and Sunday. They can't necessarily make, so then they'll have these makeup games towards the end of the season they have to make up. If you have games in hand that you have like floating points that are available to you, that could be, you never know what happens. The season could not be decided until the last month, or it could be decided before the last month's up, because some teams got 1 game in hand and they're already in first place by like 10 points, 12 points.
Yeah, and obviously the Whalers are not happy with that 2 points in the bottom of the barrel, but the North Stars do have an extra game in hand where if we win our next game and the North Stars, when they're on a bye, we could be ahead. But we could lose that game as well where, I think 3 more weeks, it looks like, everybody will be at that same amount of gains points. That's where you can really take a look and see where things are. But it kind of just comes back to that point of, right now, looks like we have the Seals are up by 3. They still have a bye, so the other teams can catch them on that side of things. But it's always, I think, going to be the big story is going to be the bottom of it, because that last team, they don't make the playoffs right now. It's the Whalers, the North Stars are right at the bottom. the Ducks, they're not far behind right now. It's kind of looking at that 3-team race. And, you want to get those early points to get that little bit of a cushion so you're not feeling that pressure. Last year, the Seals trying to get the bye or not going in that first round of the thing. We felt the pressure when we got lost a couple games early, and it was very hard to dig out of that hole.
Well, I think it's going to come down to like Drew said, it's probably going to come down to the last week of the season for who's going to make that last playoff spot. Because again, I see this league just being so balanced and so even, and especially through the first few weeks, because I don't think anything consequential has been proven yet.
I would agree.
Yeah, and it's got to be a case of all the teams got to play each other. All the teams kind of got to have an even set of games, and we'll probably start to get a feel and probably probably around December of where the league is actually going to shake out. When you see it, I think you're going to see a lot of teams real close together because there's just these teams are very, very balanced. I don't see, because like the North Stars and the Whalers, the two teams at the bottom of the standings right now, played on the North Stars last night, I played on the Whalers last night, played against the North Stars, and I can tell you that it's the amount of grit and forechecking ability and how good the defense on the North Stars was. Their goalie's okay. You combine that with the Whalers and the amount of talent they have up front and how they just can't seem to put it together. If that's what the bottom of the barrel is right now, if that's what the bottom of the standings is right now, this is going to be one tough fucking league throughout the whole entire year.
Totally agree. And for me, it's tough because I haven't got to see the Seals play once. I've been in a game, I think, every game that the Seals have. I'd like to see them. I've seen Pfister play before. I've seen him where he's had those bursts and kind of just turn it on and score a goal. But I haven't seen McCracken back. I haven't seen that combo of a McShannock and a Whoop. I want to see all those things to see how that team looks, how for real they are. I think every other team I've seen play, but it feels very even so far. I think the most even it's felt so far in the league. And I think that's a good thing because nobody wants to go to a game every year. It's like the K-Felks in the summer where it's just like, we're going to get our ass kicked again. And it's not fun.
No.
So even if
That's
you
not why
are
we do
losing,
this.
like you come in, you have a good chance. I mean, the Whalers, we feel like we should win every damn game. Have we? No. Doesn't mean we won't, start winning and turning it up, get that chemistry together. But it's never that you go in there feeling like, oh, shit, we're going to get smoked, which is a nice feeling.
Mm-hmm. So I'm at a little bit of a disadvantage because, the only game I've gotten to see this year was that wasn't our own, was the Whalers North Stars game earlier. I haven't seen the Seals play. I haven't seen the Tigers play, except we played the Tigers in preseason. I was not there for that game though. So
you played 2 Tigers and 7 subs.
in
that
that one,
game.
Yeah. That was right when I was leaving. So I don't really have a good feel on the rest of the league. However, I did skate one of those drop-ins with Pfister, and yeah, he impressed me. He impressed me as well. So he's going to be some player to watch. But I just really want to get a better feel on the rest of the competition in the league to see who's going to be the most dangerous night in, night out.
Yeah.
My last thought on the night before we wrap up, Piercy. Bauer, who was your most valuable player on the night, I guess, the star of the night last night that you saw on the ice, of the games you saw or participated in?
Dude, I don't want...
It's tough, right? I mean, there's Pfister, there's Troy, there's Judge, there's Proctor, there's a lot of players.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go off, and I'm just gonna be biased and just go off strictly off the game that I played in because obviously I have the most input on that game, and I'm gonna say Judge. Now follow me here, okay? The way he moved the puck up ice all night, he was constantly driving the play for them. And it was driving me insane because it seemed like every time I had a beat on that motherfucker, he would cycle back around, make a great pass up ice, or he would decide to just carry the zone himself. And when you're constantly bringing the puck up ice like that, when you're constantly driving the play, constantly driving possession, it created so much pressure on us that just all night, I think there was kind of a little bit of a trouble there as far as generating chances, sustaining pressure, and he was a difference maker. I don't know if he even had any points, but I can tell you as far as possession goes, as far as driving the play and carrying the zone, he was their man last night, and he was a pain in the ass to play against. So I'm going to say him.
That positive Corsi, man. The positive Corsi.
Yeah, you know, and
Corsi
I
guy.
did see a bunch of those plays as well. And I couldn't agree more. There's nothing more valuable than when a defenseman's able to open up time, keep control of the puck, and make that good play, because it's so hard as an opposing team to get your offense going when you just don't have the puck. If you don't, if you aren't on top of your stuff with your breakouts and you're just giving the puck away and your opponent's just controlling the play the entire game, it's so hard to get offensive flow going. You're getting the puck and you're tired from back checking, and then you're just getting the puck changing and people coming on fresh, and yeah, it's just hard to get offensive flow going when the other team's defense is really controlling the puck and shutting down your forecheck and just keeping you off out of their zone.
So then who was your MVP of the night then?
I'm going to go with the same thing that he did the only game that I saw, and I'm going to go with Star.
You're going to go with Star?
Yeah.
And you participated in? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like he did the same thing for us.
For you guys?
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna choose someone in our game because I saw all three games. And it's gonna be a little tiresome because it's like, ooh, Twisted Fister, and that's all Whoop can fucking jizz about. But Fister last night, 2-goal performance. I feel like without him on the Seals would it'd be every game would be 1-1 because Dylan will stop all the goals, and then maybe they get one extra goal from Shawnee. So he kind of breaks out the Seals in their law and their scoring ability, and he's the reason why they're a +5 right now goal differential. So. And then I guess for you, Piercy, who was the player of the night that you saw, or the MVP of the night you saw?
I'm probably gonna go Turtle. I thought.
Ooh, I like that.
I thought. He's been doing a really good job lately as that second line center, kind of controlling play. I feel like he's taking the puck, not always passing it right away, but he's kind of going in the sides, the corners, controlling it, stopping it, kind of wasting some time moving around, letting the guy get in front of the net, passing it out there for getting those nice opportunities where maybe a lot of other second lines might not, because he does have that control and that ability. So I felt like, I think the way that subbing for Darren was a fair sub, pretty close to equal, but I thought the way that it was allowed the North Stars to change up their lineup and what he was able to do on offense compared to, in my mind, Darren was going to be playing defense, gave them an offensive spark that created 2 goals for the North Stars.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that.
Yeah, that's a fair pick.
I'm not going to argue. Yeah, and obviously, too, I see the benefits of what Turtle's capable of and what a great second-line center he can be. And he certainly brought that last night for the North Stars. Obviously, he was out there for a couple goals and had one himself and in the way to generate offense, because think about him, he's an intelligent player. Super, super smart player. And that's something that you just can't discount.
Yeah, so next week we have the North Stars versus the Americans. We have the Tigers versus the Whalers, and the Nordiques versus the Mighty Ducks. Now, to me, these are all really big games because, like we talked about, you have the Ducks at 4, 3 games in. You have the North Stars with 3 points, 4 games in. You have the Whalers, 2 points. This comes to, again, we're looking at the race to the bottom. Every one of those teams needs wins. They need points. And if they don't get it and the other teams gets it, that's a total flip of those standings. So all these games are going to be super crucial for the bottom. Not to say they're not for the top, but when it comes down to it, you need to make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you need to. At the end of the day, you're just looking to not to be 7th. Being first or second would be nice to get that bye, and you could maybe rest guys that might have had a Cipps injury or something like that. But when you're going into the end of the season, you just want to at least be in the dance, because if you're in the playoffs, you at least have a chance to get to the championship, right? All you can ask of your team and of yourself is always to get the championship. Then anything can happen. So if you're not in the playoffs, that can't happen. But you know what? That's good for league parity. It keeps everything even and equal, and everyone fighting and clawing and try to get in the playoffs. And for me, it makes the season actually worth something.
Totally agree. So, Bauer, Woods, did you guys have a good time?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely, I did. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you guys for joining us. As always, you can Call the Whoop line, 714-75-WHOOP. Email the show at podcast@mnlhl.com. Subscribe, follow to Twitch. We'd love that from you, and we are over.
How was that milkshake stout?
Oh, it's
Delicious.
very good. Very good.
Yummy.